pieces in my life go away with you. Forever in my mind, only you. The pieces in my life run away with you.
Flying the BW423, and it was indeed our pleasure serving you. We most certainly enjoyed your company. Up
Dreaming comes so easily, 'cause it's all that I've known. True love is a fairy tale. I'm damaged, so how would I know? Well, I'm scared and I'm alone. I'm ashamed.
I think the prospect of doing an academy in Trinidad is really exciting to me, only because you know, you constantly hear about the natural talent that kids in Trinidad have, you know, and I've seen that myself. And I think if you could somehow take kids who've been playing the game, you know, at 6, 7, 8, you know, in something of an organized environment. If you can take those kids who have skill and technical ability and you know, dribbling ability at those young ages, if you can take those kids and put them in a really progressive learning type environment where they're being pushed, where a lot is demanded of them, where fundamentals is something that's being constantly stressed, where mentality, even at 9 and 10 and 11, you know, where that mentality is being instilled in those kids, that they want to be really, really good. They want to play this game at a very high level. And you know, what you're doing essentially is that you're giving them the tools that they need in order to get to those levels. So you're addressing obviously the technical part of the game. You're addressing the, you know, the physical. I mean, the game obviously is more demanding now physically. So even at 9 and 10, you've got to be thinking about getting these kids into the habit of constantly, you know, changing direction explosively. You know, you've got to get into them the concept that football is a game that requires fitness. You know, and then I think probably equally as important as it relates to Trinidad is the mentality of the players. You know, getting into the psyche of these kids and instilling at 9, 10, 11, 12 the sort of mentality that's needed to be better, the sort of mentality that could allow them to elevate their games, you know. And having done this, I mean, in the US for, like I said, for the last 15 years or so, I feel like it's something that coming down to Trinidad and actually doing is an exciting prospect. You know, one of the main reasons I actually came back home was because I was actually hoping to find a player to potentially, you know, send to Arsenal FC in England. A colleague of mine in the US is actually the North American scout for Arsenal FC in England. And one of the things that happened is that there was a player who came and played with me, Ethiopian kid, very, very good player. And there was a lot being spoken about, you know, his ability and his, you know, the potential that he possessed at 14 years of age. And I have to tell you, I mean, his his technique was really, really good. But more impressive, I think, with respect to him, was the fact that his decision making, his execution, for instance, in the final third of the field, was nothing like I had seen of a kid 14 years of age. But in the back of my mind, and he actually, Gary Kabayason took him eventually to Arsenal, and he is now with the Arsenal Academy. And there's probably, in all likelihood, they're going to sign this kid once he turns 16. So the idea really was to come back now to Trinidad and find a kid here in Trinidad at 14. And I have to tell you, I mean, I went everywhere in Trinidad and Tobago looking for a player. I spoke to a lot of people involved in youth football. Like I said, went and I saw a lot of games. Saw a lot of the Pro League games, the youth, the under 14s, the under 16s, and actually went to the national under 17 team, their training sessions, looking for players, and unfortunately was not able to find a kid who I felt would be good enough to really make that sort of an impression, and it was really disappointing because I thought, this kid was really good, but I felt in the back of my mind there must be some player in Trinidad and Tobago at that age who is as good, and who I could find that could potentially, be able to do the same thing that was done for this other kid. And unfortunately it didn't happen. But once I got here, people that I started interacting with in football circles started sharing with me, some of the things that they felt we need to implement. A lot of people that I ran into talked about, the establishment of at least a club or an environment where, the kids who have that much potential, the kids who are quite good, could be in a place where, fundamentals and good training habits and good mentality, those are things that have been instilled at a very early age. So really that's where the concept of establishing what we feel is an elite academy, that's really where that concept came from.